same team every year.
But as tight as Coach Stack is with Ed and Ray, it's the players and the game which are his primary concerns.
Steve, play the point. Special with 8. Special! Special! Special!
10 seconds now left in the half as the Muskies look for the last shot. Steve Wolf at the top of the key with it. He's in trouble. 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1. This is Eddie Johnson.
I want to know one thing, Robert. I want to know if you went to confession to the good fathers at Xavier, because really, hey, aren't coaches zany people? I was wacky when I was on the sideline.
Were you like that? Were you like that?
I'll tell you, I was wacky, but I wasn't that wacky.
Oh, come on.
My wife said, you know, now that you don't coach, I said, well, hon, I do coach. I've been coaching for 4 years here at ESPN. I coach everybody's team, and you know what, Robert?
They're all W's, right?
I'm undefeated, baby. But you know what? Coaches are wacky, but officials are even wackier, that they would work and take abuse from guys like Knight and all these other people around for $200 a game.
Well, it's more than just a game. It is big business. And we move on now in the opening round of the NCAA Tournament, the National Collegiate Basketball Championship. Dave Sanders is standing by for more from SportsCenter on the NCAA tonight. Xavier and Alcorn State live upcoming in just a few moments from
Ready, we've seen Robert Morris College advance with a win by 10 points over Georgia Southern. Ready now for this Alcorn State Xavier game. Alcorn State, winner of the Southwest Athletic Conference Tournament, to get here with a record of 21-9. They're making their second appearance in the NCAA Tournament. As a matter of fact, last year they lost to a Final Four team, Houston, by only 10 points.
That's right, and I'll tell you what, they played Houston about as tough as they wanted to be played last year. Alcorn's a good basketball team. They have an unusual thing. They start 5 sophomores on this basketball team, and they're 8th in the nation in scoring. Tom, we're going to expect to see a lot of offense out of this club.
Xavier, with a record of 22-7 on the year, comes in off a victory over Loyola in the Midwestern City Conference Tournament. Xavier also making its second tournament appearance, but it's been a while for the Musketeers.
Well, you got to go all the way back to 1961 before you can pick up on NCAA play for Xavier. But they've won 9 of their last 10 basketball games. They also are playing very well, as many of the clubs that are in the NCAA right now.
An excellent backcourt matchup in store for us tonight. First for Alcorn State, a young man they call the Little Magician.
Hey, Charles is outstanding. He's got 218 assists. He's 5'10", and he's absolutely one of the finest young backcourt players you're going to see in the country.
That is a career total in assists for many players, but Xavier, of course, has a backcourt star of its own.
They do, and his name is Anthony Hicks. He's the all-time career scoring leader for Xavier. He's a great offensive player. You're going to get a chance to see a great player tonight.
It's the first meeting ever between these two teams, Alcorn State and Xavier, and it comes in the opening round of the NCAA Tournament. We'll be back with the introduction of the starting lineups in just a moment. Tom Hammond and Larry Conley from the Dayton Arena, Dayton, Ohio. The coaches matched up for the game tonight. Bob Stack of Xavier in his second year in Cincinnati, and Davey Whitney of Alcorn State in his 14th year down in Lorman, Mississippi.
I'm looking for a very high-powered offensive game tonight, Tom, between these two basketball teams. One of them, and that's Alcorn State's averaging 82 points a game, and Xavier's averaging 74 points a game. If they both reach their averages, obviously Alcorn would win, but we'd have a great offensive game.
Here are the officials for tonight's game. Michael Crowley, John Hannon, and Tim Higgins. They're from the ECAC. Xavier with a record of 22-7, one of the great turnarounds in college basketball. They were 8-20 last season. This record is their best in 26 years, the second most wins ever, and they're a hot team. They've won 6 in a row, 9 of their last 10. Alcorn State with a record of 21-9, the winner of the Southwestern Athletic Conference Tournament. Here are the matchups for tonight. Alcorn State and Xavier. Alcorn State with Brandon and Claiborne on the wings, Collier in the center, Phelps and Archie in the backcourt. Xavier, Bailey, and Shimko at forward, Johnson at center, Fleming and Hicks at guards. Now we're ready for the starting lineups. Let's go to public address announcer Charlie Robinson.
Starting lineups for tonight's NCAA opening round tournament games between the Alcorn State Braves and the Xavier Musketeers. Starting at the forward positions for Alcorn State, a 6'6" sophomore from Jackson, Mississippi, number 21, Aaron Brandon. For Xavier, a 6'4" junior from Cincinnati, number 35, Dexter Bailey. For Alcorn State, a 6'6" sophomore from Yazoo City, Mississippi, number 33, David Claiborne. For Xavier, a 6'5" junior from Cleveland, Ohio, number 42, John Shimko. The centers for Alcorn State, a 6'8" sophomore from Biloxi, Mississippi, number 54, Tommy Collier. For Xavier, a 6'8" sophomore from Baltimore, Maryland, number 55, Eddie Johnson. And at the guard position for Alcorn State, a 6'4" sophomore from Vicksburg, Mississippi, number 23, Michael Phelps. For Xavier, a 6'6" junior from Long Island City, New York, number 10, Victor Fleming. For Alcorn State, a 5'10" sophomore from Jackson, Mississippi, number 22, Eddie Archie. For Xavier, a 6' senior from Birmingham, Alabama, number 30, Anthony Hicks. The coaches for tonight's game: for Alcorn State, Davey Whitney. For Xavier, Bob Stack.
And there you have the starting lineups for tonight's game. We'll be back with a tip-off after these messages. Tom Hammond and Larry Conley from Dayton. There are the records of the opposing teams. Alcorn State 21-9, Xavier 22-7. The winner advances to the Midwest Tournament in Louisville on Friday to play Georgetown. Xavier's second appearance in the NCAA Tournament. They lost to Morehead State back in 1961, 71-66. It's the second trip to the NCAA for Alcorn State. They lost last year to Houston by 10 points. Houston went on to the Final Four. And also, Alcorn State was in the NIT. They stand 1-2 in NCAA tournament play. The Xavier huddle around Coach Bob Stack and a good contingent of Xavier fans on hand, making the short drive up from Cincinnati.
It's not very far. It's just a few miles down the road. Tom, I look for a good basketball game. Xavier and Alcorn State play good brand of basketball. You're going to see a lot of offense tonight. I'm excited. Let's watch and see.
The Alcorn State Braves breaking their huddle, and Xavier already on the court. Xavier in the white uniforms, Alcorn State in the purple. We're ready to get this game underway. Opening round of the NCAA Tournament. It'll be Dexter Bailey at 6'4", jumping for Xavier against Tommy Collier, 6'8", of Alcorn State. Tap control by Alcorn State, but taken by Xavier. So Collier got the tap, but Xavier comes up to the ball, and the Musketeers take the offense first. What about the defense for Alcorn State?
Great man-to-man. They're coming out. Good pressure on the ball. Good help away.
Hicks gives on the right side. Shimko with a couple of dribbles before he pulls up. Almost a steal. Still a loose ball. Saved inbounds by Alcorn State. Good defensive work as Archie brings it into front court. So Xavier turns it over on his first possession, and the Braves attack. Underneath Eddie Archie, he's fouled. The little guy made a move to the basket very quickly and drew the first foul of the game.
They call him the little magician, Eddie Archie. Right there you see the foul committed by Dexter Bailey. It's a good move by Eddie Archie inside. I tell you what, he'll do it all for you. He'll do it inside, he'll do it outside.
That was the first foul of the game and called on Bailey of Xavier. It sends Eddie Archie to the free throw line.
Tom, I'm completely amazed at that number of assists. 218 in one season.
That's a career, as we said earlier, for a lot of folks. He also had 100 steals.
And he also had 132 turnovers, which we want to bring into effect, too.
He makes things happen. You can say that about him, and he gives Alcorn State a 1-0 lead, hitting 1 of 2 at the free throw line. Full court pressure and a turnover. Saved in, shot up by Phelps is good. And a good defensive work by Brandon to get the ball. He gave it to Phelps, who got 2, and it's a 3-0 Alcorn lead.
Sometimes the best offense you can have is a good defense, and that's what Alcorn State just has in the early minute of this basketball game.
This is Hicks, the offensive star for the Xavier Musketeers. To Fleming, a baseline move, puts it up and in. Victor Fleming with the first 2 of the game for the Musketeers of Xavier. You'll notice Fleming is wearing a T-shirt and a flak jacket protecting some sore ribs as the fans throw candy bars. Are we allowed to say what brand?
I don't think so, but they are candy bars.
Well, it ties in with the team nickname. Let me put it that way. That's the significance. Full court pressure returned by the Xavier Musketeers as another candy bar comes sailing on the floor. Now we'll get play underway once again. 3-2, Alcorn leading. They attack the pressure defense of the Musketeers, and Archie brings it safely into front court.
Well, that's a good matchup right there. Eddie Archie against Anthony Hicks. Two good backcourt players.
This is Phelps. He's open for an 18-footer. No good. Rebound comes off to Xavier. Hicks pulls it down. Quick pass to Fleming on a break.
Good play.
Fleming got it.
Great pass by Hicks. A good break by Fleming. Fill the lanes and the man will get to the ball. Good pass.
And more candy bars. Well, I'd say much more, and there'll be a technical foul called against the Xavier fans. Let's watch that last one again.
This is the end, the culmination of the play right here. Fleming with a good catch. He floated by, let the defensive player go out of bounds, and it was a good pass from Anthony Hicks.
And the public address announcer notes that the next debris on the floor will result in a technical foul called against Xavier.
So if a fan from Alcorn State throws something on the floor, it'll go against them.
Pass out to Phelps. His shot on its way and no good. And a whistle underneath. There's going to be a foul on Alcorn State, jockeying for position for the rebound.
Looks like Tommy Collier inside. Number 54 is the one who drew the foul.
Foul number 54.
That's the first against the Braves.
His first, team's first.
Xavier has a 4-3 lead and the basketball. Anthony Hicks in front court. Tony Hicks is averaging 15 points a game. Here's Fleming backing in with an offensive foul. His first foul, the second against the Musketeers.
A little out of control that time. He tried to make his turn. He was too late getting there, and it was good defensive position by the Alcorn State defensive player, and that was number 23, Michael Phelps.
Got a pretty good picture of that flak jacket that Fleming is wearing as well. Zone defense this time, Musketeers.
It's 1-3-1, Tom. You see Fleming out front. Hicks is in the middle, trying to cut off the middle of the inside, and it doesn't bother Alcorn State.
Eddie Archie hits from outside. He has 3 points in the game, and Alcorn State jockeys back on top by 1.
Good ball movement by Xavier right there. Look at Hicks inside. Archie took it away. The magician got it.
Well, he has 100 steals. He took that one away and gives it on the other end to Claiborne, whose shot is blocked. Beautiful rejection that time.
Eddie Johnson, 6'8", 225, a sophomore. Here's the pass inside. There's the steal by Archie. Slapped it off a Hicks' leg. They go the other way. Archie's got the ball up front. He passes. Look here, Eddie Johnson all the way from the other side. A great defensive play.
Back to live action. Eddie Johnson, the big guy, hustling down court. Here's a pass in heavy traffic. Claiborne couldn't handle it. Give it up to Archie. Archie to Phelps. Still can't get his shot away. Goes inside to Collier. Turnaround jumper, but the big guy won't go. Rebound Simcoe of Xavier. Outlet pass to Hicks. He's got Bailey on the wing, Fleming on the other, and it's broken up again by the little magician, Eddie Archie.
Two good defensive plays right there by Eddie Archie. He gets down the floor, takes the ball away from Xavier. 2 lost opportunities for the Muskies.
They had the numbers on the break, but unable to convert with the quick hands from Archie.
Xavier's gone back to that zone defense. More than 1-3-1. There's Archie again.
About a 25-footer wouldn't go. Rebound Simcoe gets it to Fleming. And a quick fast break basket as Bailey lays it in on the other end. Well, that almost caught Alcorn State by surprise.
It was a 3-on-3 break, and Bailey just got the basketball up and floated by the Xavier, or by the Alcorn State defender.
Again, a 1-point lead for the Musketeers. Phelps with a baseline drive. It'll be a charging foul on Michael Phelps of Alcorn State. That's the first foul on Phelps, and the second whistled against the Braves.
Michael Phelps commits it. John Shimko's the one who draws it. It's good position right here. You see Fleming with a good pressure baseline. Watch Shimko come across. Good position to draw the charge. Got in the chest, went down. It goes the other way to Xavier.
Now in live action with Hicks, passing it up to Fleming. We played 3.5 minutes, and Xavier has a 1-point lead on Alcorn State.
Xavier with a couple of turnovers, but they've been 3 of 3 from the field goal line. Good shooting.
Shimko at long range gives it to Hicks. Hicks drives on Archie, pulls up for the jump shot. Sweet move that time by Tony Hicks.
Tony Hicks can stop on a dime. He'll go hard on you and force you back, get you on your heels, and then stop, go straight up with his jump shot. He's done it so well, and he's done it for several years at Xavier.
2-time All-Midwestern City Conference selection. Xavier's all-time leading scorer, hitting the scoring column for the first time tonight.
Good help right there by Xavier.
Phelps shoots over and hits. Michael Phelps has his 4th point. That cuts the lead again to 1 for Xavier.
We expected these two teams to come out and play some offensive basketball. They're playing, and they're running up and down the floor.
You made a good point. Alcorn State hitting almost 83 points a game and 74 for Xavier. There's a foul called. A pushing off foul called against Xavier.
Looks like it's John Simcoe who got it.
Simcoe has his first. That's 3 against Bob Stack's Musketeers. Stack in his second year at Xavier. Was a good player. He scored over 1,000 points at Connecticut and was captain of the team there 2 times. Was an assistant at Connecticut. William and Marion Penn went to the Final Four with Penn. Here's an interception by Johnson. A lead pass intended for Bailey with Archie chasing it down and recovering for Alcorn State.
And that's the 3rd basketball he's retrieved.
Archie's shot no good. It's short. Rebound by Collier. His follow is good. Tommy Collier in the scoring column.
Tom Collier with a good offensive rebound. He was right in the way of Eddie Archie, who was coming in to retrieve his rebound. But Collier got there first and got the basket.
Here's Hicks. Baseline jump shot of beauty. Got the defense to commit, going the other way. Pulled up with a soft jump shot. He has 4. Gives Xavier again a 1-point lead.
He's done it on either side of the baselines. Hicks can really play that ball well. He gets up quickly. He's a quick jumper.
Alcorn State working it around the horn. Looks like Xavier man-to-man this time. Oh, what a great
tip.
Pretty tap in by Tommy Collier. Back over his head for his 4th point.
Collier all around the basket.
Bailey, turnaround jump shot won't go. Johnson fights for the rebound. Can't get it. It's knocked off to Brandon. Phelps brings the ball in front court for the Braves of Alcorn State. Pass off to Claiborne. Out front, it's Archie. And he brings it back outside. Try to go into Collier, knocked away by Xavier. Eddie Johnson knocked it away. And here's Shimko, double-teamed in backcourt. And out of bounds, they'll turn it over to Alcorn State. They had Shimko trapped for the baseline, and he just couldn't get away.
Well, he couldn't go anywhere. They had him both baseline and then up the side, too, and he stepped out of bounds. It'll go to Alcorn A&M.
So Alcorn State will have possession of the ball when we come back. There's a timeout, 14:07 to play first half. The score, Alcorn State 11, Xavier 10. Bob Stack. They trail Alcorn by 1. There's the rebounding situation all even. What about the shooting?
That's rebound. Shooting on the other end. Alcorn State 5 of 12, 41%. Xavier 5 of 6 for 83%. One of the problems Xavier's having right now is they have 8 turnovers, Tom. That's what's kept them down.
Will be the Braves basketball as they get it in front court. Michael Phelps at long range. Gives it up to Davey Whitney Jr., who came in the game for the last time out. This is Whitney drawing a foul as Johnson went for the charge but committed the blocking foul for his first. That's 4 against Xavier. Davey Whitney Jr., 6'2", 167 pounds, a freshman from Lorman, averaging 2 a game. Here it is.
Good blocking foul call by the official there. Eddie Johnson, the strong inside player, was not there in time. He was standing and looking right over the top of him.
Davey Whitney Jr., son of the coach here at Alcorn State. Shot no good by Claiborne. Battle for the rebound and a foul on Claiborne over the back. David Claiborne commits his first personal foul, and that is 3 against the Braves this half.
You've got to get the inside position if you're defense, and that time they did, and Claiborne went right up on their back.
Again, full court pressure. Here's a run out. They try to get it to Fleming, and it's picked off by Phelps. Again, Xavier turns it over. Their 9th of the first half. Shot in and out, no good, and a rebound, Hicks.
Boy, did he get up. Look at the feed to Fleming.
Fleming tries to chase it down, saves it in bounds, right to Alcorn State. 10 turnovers for the Musketeers. On the other end, Phelps in heavy traffic puts a shot up, and he's fouled by Johnson.
Michael Phelps and Eddie Johnson going at it inside that time. Phelps went up, drew the foul from Johnson. He'll go to the line for 2. Racehorse basketball. Both clubs going up and down the floor. Transition game played by Alcorn State and by Xavier.
Johnson goes out, replaced by this man, number 23, Jeff Jenkins, 6'8", 195 pounds, a junior from Newark, New Jersey, averaging 10 points and 4 rebounds a game. He was a second-team All-Midwestern City Conference selection, despite the fact that he's not a starter. Free throw good by Michael Phelps. Phelps, they call him the master, started as a freshman, was number 3 in scoring last year, about 10 points a game, up to 13 this year. An all-sophomore starting lineup for the Braves of Alcorn State.
I really like the name of the place where they play their basketball games. They call it the Scalping Grounds.
The Scalping Braves. Fleming stolen away. Nice bit of work. He committed himself and then left it back for Whitney, who was able to get the basket. Well, they've handled the ball very well, haven't they?
Davey Whitney got the ball inside. It was a good steal. The press has really bothered Xavier. They've had several turnovers. Xavier's not handling them well.
Brandon has been a key man. He's come up with several steals. Here's a shot from the corner by Shimko, his first two.
Now Xavier's going to come back and give them a little bit of pressure themselves. Full court, you see Fleming right here guarding Michael Phelps.
Coach Bob Stack likes to use multiple defenses. Not uncommon to see them use 8 or 10 different defensive sets. Alcorn with a 3-point lead. Brandon left it inside, but Collier couldn't chase it down, so the Braves turn it over.
Now they back off that pressure. Alcorn State's going to back in and let Xavier bring it up. Here comes Hicks with the basketball.
They trail by 3 with 12 minutes, 40 seconds showing in the first half. Hicks went up for a shot, but Whitney was on the arm for his first foul. That'll be 4 against the Braves.
Very fast-paced basketball game. Both clubs going up and down the floor. The transition has been just unbelievable. A lot like a pro basketball game, the way they've been going up and down the floor.
You saw Maurice Bronner into the lineup for the Braves of Alcorn State as Bob Stack directs a little traffic. Bronner, 5'11", 175 pounds, a sophomore from Chicago, averages 2 a game, wears 14 in the purple. Hicks, free throw on its way, rims out. He'll have another shot. Substitution for the Braves of Alcorn State. David Williams makes his first appearance. 6'5", 215 pounds, a senior from Asbury Park, New Jersey, averages 7 points a game. And coming in for Xavier, number 25 is Steve Wolf, 6'4", 200 pounds, a senior from Cincinnati. He averages 6 a game. Hicks ready for his second free throw, and this one is good. 5 points in the game for Hicks against that 15-point per game average. It's a 15-13 lead. Xavier cuts it to 2.
Xavier with passive pressure. It was not real tough pressure.
Brandon with a short jump shot, good. Aaron Brandon has his first basket. 4 of the 5 Brave starters have scored. That's the case for Xavier also. Jenkins gives it to Hicks. Try to go inside to Bailey. Another steal. That was Williams that got a hand on it that time as the Braves come the other way, but we're going to have a walking call. So Alcorn State turns it back over to Xavier. For Xavier, Richard Harris into the game for the first time. 6'6", 190 pounds, a freshman from Long Island City, New York. Averages 2 points a game.
The pace of this basketball game is very, very quick. Both clubs want to go up and down the floor. They've shown us some good offensive thrusts.
There's an outside jump shot and a beauty by Jeff Jenkins. Jenkins with his first 2 off the Musketeer bench to pull Xavier back within 2.
Tough to come off that bench and shoot that ball cold like that, but Jenkins was able to do it.
Alcorn State's biggest lead has been 5. It stands at a pair right now as the clock ticks down to 11:40 first half. Browner lobs it inside to Collier. Flashes back to Browner. Try to get it to Collier again. Knocked out of bounds by Jenkins of Xavier. It'll go to Alcorn State.
Jenkins pleading with the other official, but he wasn't the guy that made the call. It was the man underneath that did it.
Another substitution for the Xavier Musketeers. Not uncommon to see Bob Stack use this many players in the first half. This is Ralph Lee, 6'3", 165 pounds, freshman from Baltimore, Maryland. He averages 3 points a game and replaces Shimko.
Now Xavier goes back into that zone defense. Sort of a 1-3-1. You see Hicks in the middle.
Drumming the out-of-bounds pass. Here's a shot up by Brandon from long range. He gets his 4th point. Xavier brings it into front court, down by 4.
Look ahead move.
In traffic, Tony Hicks. Beautiful shot, his 7th point.
He can do a little bit of it all. He can take it inside or outside. We've seen him make a couple of baseline jumpers. That time he brought it from the outside.
Threading his way through traffic is Browner, and he finally loses it out of bounds. He drove baseline. There wasn't much room there, and he finally lost it. Here's number 44, David Palmer in for Alcorn State. 6'9", 218 pounds, freshman from Jackson, Mississippi. Averages 4 points and 4 rebounds a game.
Good ball movement by Xavier right now. Alcorn State doing a good job of their defense. They give a lot of help away from the basketball. You see the movement around the perimeter. Xavier, now they try to push it in.
They did get it inside to Jenkins, and he was quickly fouled by Palmer. So Palmer has his first. That'll be 5 now, whistled against the Braves. Let's watch Hicks again with that last basket in traffic.
You want to talk about a good offensive player. Watch this move right here. Alcorn State player tries to take the charge right there, and that was number 14 for Alcorn State, Browner. He wasn't able to do it because Hicks went right around him.
Beautiful basket by Hicks. Wolf misses on the shot for Xavier. Alcorn State rebounds as we come back to live action. 10.5 minutes remaining in the first half, and Alcorn leading by 2. The winner plays Georgetown on Friday.
Looks like Xavier's going to stay in that zone defense. You see them right out front. Hicks on one side, Lee on the other.
Like a 2-3 this time.
A little bit of a, it is. Nobody's in the middle. They're floating back inside when the ball goes to the wing.
There's a 1-3-1 earlier. Again, Bob Stack using several defenses. There's a nice shot up and in by Whitney. Just muscled it up for his 4th point. 21-17. Again, a 4-point lead. And that's going to be a jump ball. Collision on the baseline, and they say they tied him up, so a jump ball, and on the alternate possession, it goes to Alcorn State.
Tom, that was a great defensive play by David Williams that time. The young senior from Ashbury Park, New Jersey, made a good defensive play as Xavier tried to push the ball inside.
Alcorn State beats the pressure. They come in front court to Brandon. And he gives it back out at long range. Archie swings it over to Whitney. Here's a shot. It's a beauty by Aaron Brandon. 6 points now for Brandon and a 23-17 lead, the longest of the game.
Alcorn State continues to push the basketball around offensively, and Xavier comes right back and tries to answer it with the same thing.
Harris pulls up with a short jump shot. It's good. Harris takes his drive, pulled up with a jumper. First 2. 23-19, 4-point advantage for the Braves. Tried to feed inside that time. Williams did, and everybody was going to the basket for the rebound off the anticipated shot. Harris chases down the ball, turned but can't get his shot away. Tried to feed it off to a teammate. Knocked out of bounds by Alcorn.
Very fast-paced action by both teams right here. The Braves and the Muskies going at each other.
Fleming comes back in for the Musketeers, but first we're going to have a timeout. 9 minutes, 6 seconds to play in the first half with Alcorn leading Xavier 23-19. Looks as if a few of the Xavier students have come back from Florida and are seeing the Musketeers in NCAA action this evening. Look at the turnovers. That's one of the reasons that Alcorn has the 4-point lead.
It is 13 turnovers to 5 right now, Tom. We've played just about 11 minutes of basketball. That's an average of a little over a turnover a minute, and that's way too much, and that's why Xavier's down. Right there you see the coach's Xavier. Alcorn State, Davey Whitney.
And his 14th year in Lorman, Mississippi, he's won 315 games, lost 101. Quite a record for the Lexington, Kentucky native, who is one of the finest athletes in the history of Kentucky State University, earned more letters there than any other athlete in that school's history.
Alcorn State with good man-to-man pressure now. They're forcing Xavier back out away from the inside of that paint. If they get some more turnovers here, they'll increase that lead.
They did get another turnover. Lee is called for steps. He was trying to spin his way through traffic, took 1 step too many.
The only thing that's kept Xavier within the race right now is the fact they're shooting 81%. They're 9 of 11 from the field.
Coach Whitney surveying the scene from his spot on the Alcorn bench. It's a 23-19 lead for the team with the basketball, the Braves of Alcorn State.
Xavier with that 3-2 zone defense right now. They're kind of, well, they're blocking it up right in the middle in there. They're going to let them play with the ball on the perimeter. Lee and Fleming trying to take the outside.
Back to Whitney, the coach's son, who's come off the bench to score 4 points already.
Good pass inside. Oh, he almost got the stuff, Brandon.
Brandon missed the stuff, but somehow comes back up with the basketball. So the Braves get another chance. Made a beautiful move, then missed the stuff.
It's tough to do that. Go to the other side and stuff it.
No harm done from the Braves standpoint. They retain possession of the ball. Nice pass. Brandon gives it up to Palmer going for the basket, and he draws the foul.
I want to tell you that Aaron Brandon just showed everyone in our audience a lot of offensive moves. He went across the lane that time, almost got the stuff right here, the jam. He came in, just missed it on the backside, and then after this play, he gets the basketball, drives baseline, looks like he's going to make the same move, and makes a great pass to David Palmer.
Bailey back in the lineup for Xavier. He was a starter, Dexter Bailey. And David Claiborne has also come back in for Alcorn. Here's Hicks back in as Lee goes to the bench. David Palmer, the freshman from Jackson, Mississippi at the line. He's about a 64% free throw shooter, as you see on your screen. He'll have 2, and the first one good. First point of the game for Palmer.
It's a very young basketball team, this Alcorn State team. We talked about them starting 5 sophomores, but they have some good freshmen. This young man happens to be one of them, David Palmer.
Palmer's second shot is good. That's the score. Alcorn State in command. Just over 8 minutes to play in the first half.
Good pressure defense right now by Alcorn State.
In front court safely. Xavier gives it to Hicks. Try to cross-court it. And it's picked off. Jenkins couldn't handle the pass.
Look at that bounce pass.
Beautiful pass off the break, and Archie converts it for his 5th point of the game.
And it's Davey Whitney. Got it on the other side.
27-19 lead. That's the longest of the game. Hicks in heavy traffic. Air ball. Fleming on a putback. Victor Fleming has his 6th point. It's again a 6-point lead.
I was going to say, Tom, it's very intense pressure. These two basketball teams are playing good defense. That's the result of turnovers, but they're also going at each other on the offensive end.
Whitney bounces out to Archie at long range. Lob it on a high post, but right to Xavier. Bad pass. Here's Hicks in front court. Archie picks him up and fouls him. Eddie Archie has his first personal foul. That'll be 6 against the Braves this half.
Foul by Eddie Archie that time. The little magician reached in his hat, didn't pull out a rabbit that time. He got an elbow, so now he's going to have to send the man to the foul line.
Shimko back in for Xavier. And Phelps will come in for Alcorn State. Whitney goes to the bench, getting a round of applause from his dad. Pass too high for Bailey to handle, but picked up by Jenkins, who threads his way through traffic, but walks in doing so. That's another Xavier turnover.
Tough call for Jeff Jenkins right there. He had a good move. He was moving to the inside. Jenkins played very well over the last 8 games. He's come off the bench and averaged 16 points a game for Xavier. Really helped them to establish this record that they have right now with 22 wins.
Tommy Collier, the starting center, back in for Alcorn State. Backcourt pressure from the guards of Xavier. And almost got a steal. Not quite, though. Here's Archie for the Braves. Collier, who just came back into the lineup, to Phelps. Fleming guarding him as Xavier shows us a man-to-man look, this time down court. And good defense that time by Jenkins to knock the ball away.
We talked about Jenkins' offensive proficiency. That time he came off and showed you a little bit of his defensive work. Good hands.
And Alcorn State is going to call a timeout with 6 minutes, 38 seconds to play in the first half from Dayton. Timeout with a score, Alcorn State 27, Xavier 21.
Tom Hammond and Larry Conley, courtside for the play-by-play.
It's off the hand of Claiborne. Here's Eddie Johnson back in the game for Xavier. The Musketeers will come the length of the court, trailing by 6 with 5 minutes, 36 seconds remaining in the first half. Full court pressure from the Braves of Alcorn. Fleming gets it inbounds to Shimko. Shimko guarded by Collier. Still not in front court. Now crosses the timeline.
Tom, Alcorn State is so smart defensively. They really do a good job of looking for expected positions on the floor where they can intercept or make a situation where they can double team the basketball. It's a very smart defensive club.
Reaching in was Eddie Archie, committing his second personal foul. That's 7 now against Alcorn State. Will shoot 1+1 at the Xavier free throw line, and it's Tony Hicks.
Very intense pressure they're putting on Xavier, and I think that's what's causing all these turnovers. Obviously, they're not doing it just by themselves. They're having a lot of help from those guys in the purple jerseys.
Hicks hits the free throw for that man's team. That's Bob Stack, the Xavier coach. Hicks came into tonight's game with 1,791 career points, number 1 in Xavier history. Also holds the school record for field goals, 723, and needs 35 assists to set a school record in that department. So the Musketeers will have to keep going. He missed the second free throw, but Alcorn State turns it over. So Xavier with a chance to knock 2 more off the Braves' lead. Watch Hicks. His shot rolls off. And a foul. Collier came down with a rebound. Hicks tried to strip him and committed the first foul.
Hicks's hands were so quick, we didn't even see the foul. He got inside there and slapped the ball, but the official saw it.
Team 7.
7 fouls against Xavier now, so both teams are shooting the bonus for the final 5 minutes, 8 seconds of the first half. Tommy Collier will step to the line for Alcorn State.
Tommy Collier.
Cool man Collier, who was a starter as a freshman last year, averaged 11 points and 6 rebounds a game. He was on the All-Southwest Athletic Conference team this year. Rebound comes off, and Archie steals it, puts an acrobatic shot up. It won't go, but he's fouled.
Shimko a little bit careless underneath there. When you come down with that rebound, protect the basketball. Don't let anybody else get around it. He did, and Alcorn State swiped it, and they got it to Eddie Archie, and he fouled him trying to get it back.
Archie would go to the free throw line, about a 70% shooter. That's good for Alcorn State. They're a poor foul shooting team, 62.1% on the season. Archie bangs it home. The little magician will have another one coming up. Averages 11 a game. 6 points tonight, shooting for 7. If you've missed it, we've been talking about it all night. 218 assists coming into tonight's game. 7-point lead for the Braves of Alcorn State. Fleming looks for some help, finally gets it into Hicks. Hicks relays it to Shimko, quickly into front court, 2-on-3. He'll hold up and wait for some help. Double team.
Even when you beat Alcorn State's press, you still have got them coming back at you quickly. They just got another turnover.
They trapped Shimko, and he's guilty of a 5-second violation, so it goes the other way to the Musketeers of Xavier.
Tom, I'm really impressed with the defensive pressure that Alcorn State puts on you. They go at you from the full court man-to-man press, zone press, and then once they get over the half court, they still stay after you.
Working it around the Xavier defense now. Eddie Archie, top of the circle. He'll take it. Clanged around off the rim, but bounced through.
Archie having a good first half. He's got good point production. He's done a good job defensively. Look at that trap on the side.
9 points for Archie. Here's Jenkins with a reverse move. It falls through. The Alcorn players say one of the Xavier men jumped up and touched it. Let's watch it again.
Let's watch it. I don't think he touched the basketball. I think Jenkins gets the shot off. Jeff Jenkins with a good play right here. He draws the foul, takes the shot, gets the ball off, watch the ball bounce around. I don't know if he touched it or not, but it looked like the ball bounced in without any help from the Xavier man.
Well, that's what the officials rule, and we'll be looking at Jeff Jenkins, a good free throw shooter, about 82%, and he will not be able to convert the three-point trip. Collier loses it, dribbled it off a Xavier lane. Archie penetrates. Nice pass inside. Phelps went up to draw the foul. Beautiful pass by Archie, just threaded the needle on it.
Eddie Archie, the young sophomore from Jackson, Mississippi, got inside the zone that time, and he made the great bounce pass. Got it there to Michael Phelps. Phelps tried to go up and get the basket, but he couldn't get there. But give Eddie Archie credit. He got inside that Xavier zone.
John Shimko has committed his 3rd personal foul for Xavier, and he'll go to the bench, replaced by Dexter Bailey. Michael Phelps at the free throw line for the Braves of Alcorn State. The sophomore from Vicksburg averages 13 a game. 6'4". He's 2 for 2 at the free throw line tonight. That one drops off.
They say this young man, the people at Alcorn State tell us that Michael Phelps is probably one of the better all-around athletes they have on this basketball team.
Started as a freshman last year and back in that starting lineup again this year as a sophomore with that 13 a game average. He has 7 points in the first half, and Alcorn has a 34-26 lead, equaling their longest. Full court pressure from the Braves. Get in the hands of Hicks, who brings it into front court. Dribbles between 2 players. Still on the move. Left-hand shot, no good. Rebound, walking call. It'll go to Alcorn State as bodies fly everywhere.
I think we had more people on the deck than we did standing up that time. Hicks with a good move inside. I thought he was going to get the basket. He made a great offensive move to get through the penetration at midcourt right there. He got by 3 Braves right there. Look at the way he kind of threads his way around and floats by that defender right there. And that was for Alcorn State, Timothy Pollard, who was standing there watching him.
Here's Phelps feeding inside to Collier. Bounces once, twice, 3 times, comes off. Battle for the rebound, out of bounds. Last touch by Alcorn State. It'll go to the Musketeers of Xavier.
Alcorn State having tough luck on their shots. They're getting a lot of iron. The ball's rolling around on the rim up there, but it doesn't seem to be dropping through. And again, Alcorn State changes their defense. They back off that zone pressure and go man-to-man.
34-26 the score. Alcorn State leading it. Just over 3.5 minutes in the first half. Here's a pretty shot by Wolf. Just faced up to the basket and pops it in.
Steve Wolf, good jump shot on the outside. Alcorn State tried to trap, and they left him open.
That cuts the Alcorn lead to 6, 34-28, 3 minutes, 20 seconds short. Penetration and baseline drive by Phelps results in his 9th point of the game.
You see Michael Phelps look at his man over and said, get out of my way, I can take this guy. And he did. He took it right in the baseline and went right up and shot it in Wolf's face.
Here's Wolf on the other end, gives it up to Bailey. In front, Hicks, and a steal. Phelps has it. He'll take it all the way wide open, then lays it in.
That's rare to see, Tom. A guy go up and shoot that layup with nobody around him and not jam it. He just went up and laid it in. It's a very disciplined Alcorn State basketball team. You've got to give Davey Whitney a lot of credit. Whenever you see a club that plays defense like they do, they are very disciplined.
Phelps with his 11th point in the first half, and his backcourt running mate, Archie, has 9. Wolf connects again from long range. He has 4. Nearly 7,500 on hand in Dayton tonight to see the opening round of the NCAA Tournament. In Philadelphia earlier, Princeton beat North Carolina A&T 53-41. Earlier in Dayton, it was Robert Morris with a 10-point win over Georgia Southern. 38-30 here, Alcorn State leading. The winner to advance to the Midwest Regional at Louisville for a game Friday against Georgetown.
Here's another example of that good discipline. They didn't come down and run down and shoot the basketball. They're running their offense. Good pattern offense right now. Patience, get open, get the good shot.
Clock under 2 minutes for the first half. Almost a steal by Johnson. Instead it comes to Archie.
What a pass.
Saved into Xavier. Pretty pass that time to Collier from Archie, but they couldn't convert. Archie on the other end gets a hand on the ball, knocks it out of bounds. It'll come back to Xavier, but Archie is unbelievable.
Watch that pass right there, but watch this block right here. Trying to see the number right there. It's hard to see. It looked like it was Eddie Johnson that went up and got it.
It was Eddie Johnson.
Johnson floated around, made a great block after a super pass there from the old magician, Eddie Archie.
David Palmer has come back in for Alcorn State, and Collier goes out. Richard Harris comes back in for the Musketeers and Xavier. Well, I said Collier went out. He didn't. He's still in the game. He knocked that ball out of bounds. The player that went out was Timothy Pollard. Here's Wolf. He's been hot lately. Can't get that one, but Bailey on the follow. Good.
Good offensive rebound that time by Dexter Bailey, the 6'4 junior from Cincinnati. He's a leaper. He's got 24 blocked shots for Xavier. That time he did it on the offensive end.
Well, Xavier within 6, a minute 15 to play first half. Alcorn working the ball around the horn. Archie got a pick, penetrates, tried to pass it, but Bailey was in the way and knocked it out of bounds. Here's Brandon back in the lineup for Alcorn State. And Claiborne goes out. Whitney is also back in for the Braves. Whitney gets the pass there on the point of the Alcorn State offense. Less than a minute to play. 6-point lead for Alcorn State. First half of the opening round NCAA game from Dayton.
Tom, they're going to pull it out and take the last shot of the first half. They're going to spread it, go to a four-corner, put the ball in the hands of Eddie Archie out front. Anthony Hicks on him right there. Let him handle the basketball. But I'm going to tell you, if somebody gets open, he's going to get the ball to him.
Eddie Archie, the native of Jackson, former Mississippi Mr. Basketball.
That's the way to handle the basketball. Move around, keep the defense on. You've got the basketball. The pressure is on the defensive now.
20 seconds to play in the first half. Coach Bob Stack off the bench is going to try to change his defense here on the fly.
He went to number 1. Let's see what it is. Looks like a zone press, some type of zone trap.
There's a kick by Wolf. It'll be out of bounds to Alcorn State with 10 seconds short.
Let's see how Alcorn State handles it now. Xavier stays in that zone.
Archie with 8 seconds. Still moving. Flipped it off to Collier.
Oh, what a great pass inside to Collier. Eddie Archie right through the Xavier zone.
1 second. Jenkins lets one go at the horn as the first half ends on a marvelous note as Eddie Archer threads the needle to Tommy Collier for the last basket of the half, putting Alcorn State up by 8. That's the end of the first half of play with a score. Alcorn State 40, Xavier 32. Alcorn State up on Xavier by 8 points. And the key factor in the stats, if you missed us at halftime, was the fact that Alcorn State forced Xavier into 19 first half turnovers.
When you've got a high transition basketball game where both clubs are going up and down the floor, it's very, very difficult to keep those turnovers down, particularly against a very quick team, which Alcorn State is. If Xavier's going to stay in this game, they've got to keep those turnovers down.
The winner advances to Louisville on Friday in the Midwest region to play Patrick Ewan and the Georgetown Hoyas.
You talk about a quick basketball team. That is a very quick basketball team.
There's Davey Whitney, who is the coach at Alcorn State in his 14th year, 7-time Southwestern Athletic Conference Coach of the Year. Xavier will have the basketball to open the second half. We're underway. Hicks double teamed in backcourt. Gets rid of it to Fleming, who brings it into front court in a hurry.
Again, Alcorn State with a very intelligent trap at midcourt. They had him pinned, and he was able to get out of it.
Jeff Jenkins starting the second half for the Musketeers to go with Bailey, Hicks, Fleming, and Johnson. Jenkins has
what
a
a
shot.
great.
Collier with a block. On the other end, it's Phelps all the way. Good, and it'll count. He's fouled.
Great block by Collier. Great move by Phelps on the other end. Outstanding basketball by Alcorn State. That's the end of it right there. This is the offensive part of it. It was Collier with a good defensive block.
That's the 13th point for Michael Phelps, and he'll go to the free throw line to try to convert the three-point trip. The foul was on Tony Hicks, and his second personal, first this half on either team. Phelps ready for his shot. He got it. So Alcorn State opens the second half with a three-point trip, and they go up 43-32. That's the longest lead of the game.
Look at the pressure. Good defensive pressure by Alcorn State. That time Xavier was able to handle it.
Hicks feeds it back out to Fleming. In the corner, Johnson. Hicks again. Alcorn State man-to-man.
Oh, good move by Jenkins inside, and he lost the ball.
But it's picked up by Bailey. He misses from in close. And the rebound comes off to Archie. Eddie Archie in a hurry in front court. Bounce pass to Collier. Feed it back outside to Claiborne. They'll set it up. Archie fires from outside.
Nobody around from Xavier.
They didn't block off Brandon, and Brandon with an easy putback for his 8th point of the game.
Aaron Brandon was all by himself. All the Xavier players were just standing around. A good timeout right here taken by Bob Stack. He's got to talk to his club.
Alcorn State has outscored Xavier 5-0 to start the second half. Timeout, the score. Alcorn State 45, Xavier 32. Alcorn State outscoring Xavier 5-0 to open the second half. They're up by 13. Vic Fleming feeds it to Tony Hicks. Around the horn it goes to Xavier's Jenkins. Feed it inside. Real nice feed inside to Johnson, who got open for the easy two, his first two of the game.
Good pass that time. Jenkins to Johnson.
Collier on the other end. A high arching shot is good. So Tommy Collier, the opposing center, answers Johnson's shot, and again a 13-point lead.
And again, Alcorn State with good pressure. This time Hicks handles it.
Hicks to Fleming. Fleming tries to feed inside, throws it away. Archie picks it off. See why he had 100 steals. Good anticipation. Archie still on the move all the way.
Oh, look at that pass.
Collier is fouled. Fed it back over his head to Collier, and Collier was fouled.
I'll tell you what, Houdini doesn't have that many moves. Watch this move right here. Down the middle, he got between 3, 4. Look at this. Flipped it right over Eddie Johnson's head. Got it inside. He went back up with it that time. It was an outstanding play, and it was a good catch by Tommy Collier. You better have your eyes open when Eddie Archie's got a hold of the basketball.
Shimko in the Xavier lineup, replacing Bailey. The foul on Eddie Johnson, his third. He is the second Musketeer in foul trouble. Shimko picked up 3 in the first half. Free throw no good by Collier. He's 0 for 2 at the line tonight.
Tom, you know, so many times during the year we talk about so many great players in this country, and oftentimes the smaller schools like Alcorn State get overlooked. But there are a lot of good college basketball players at that level down there, and this young man right here, Eddie Archie, is proving that.
Johnson with a rebound, gets it off to Hicks after Collier missed 2 at the free throw line for Alcorn State. Johnson at long range to Hicks. Archie has the defensive assignment there. Hicks feeds it on the baseline to Johnson. He lost it, got it back. Outside it comes to Hicks again. And a walking call. Archie got Hicks a little bit off balance. He tried to make his move and took steps. Technical foul called on Coach Bob Stack of Xavier.
And that's going to cost them 2. When it comes from the bench, they got to shoot 2. And walking up to the line will be Aaron Brandon, a 77% free throw shooter.
Stack is still steaming, as you see. Meanwhile, at the free throw line, Brandon hits the first one, his first free throw of the night. Stack with a brief conference with his team. Second free throw is up, and it too is good. 10 points in the game for Aaron Brandon, who's averaging 16 a contest, and it'll be Alcorn State's ball out of bounds. We play just a little more than 2 minutes in the second half, and it's a 15-point lead for Alcorn.
Alcorn State can keep the pressure on Xavier right here. A basket right here can really put the game up, and comfortable lead for Alcorn State.
Archie in traffic. Go to the basket. It's good.
I'll tell you what, when he's got nobody around, he just decides to take it himself.
7 points for Archie, and again, the Alcorn State pressure defense. They'll turn it over to the Braves. That man sees things going his way and still trying to fire up his team.
Good point right there. Don't get complacent. Don't sit back and let it happen to you. Don't let them catch up with you. He's trying to keep the pressure on. Davey Whitney, outstanding coach at Alcorn State. That's how he won 21 games this year.
Tony Hicks turned his ankle. He goes to the bench, replaced by Ralph Lee in the Xavier lineup. Lee, 6'3" freshman from Baltimore, Maryland. Eddie Archie on the move again. Feed to Collier, his favorite target, but Collier misses in traffic, and Lee comes out with a rebound. Here's his lead pass to Fleming. Drives, goaltending will be called. Collier hit it on the way down. Credit the basket to Victor Fleming. Fleming, by the way, is the twin brother of Vern Fleming of Georgia, who was MVP in the Southeastern Conference tournament last week.
Pretty good move right there. Pretty good sky by Collier. This half so far, Alcorn State has outscored Xavier 11-4.
Alcorn beats the Xavier pressure. Archie gets rid of it to Brandon. His shot is no good. And coming out with the rebound is Lee. Lee gives it up to Fleming. Can't get this one. Battling on the boards. Fake. And Jenkins is fouled as he makes his move. So Xavier all of a sudden has come to life. It's almost as if the technical foul got him fired up.
It was an inspiration to him. I think they've started to play now. They came down that time. There were 5 guys on the glass. On that missed shot by Fleming, Jenkins was there, Johnson was there, Shimko was there. They all went after it. That's a good indication that maybe they're getting charged up and ready to play.
Second foul on David Palmer. The first foul this half against Alcorn State. As you see, Jenkins has scored 4 points all from the field. He's now 1 for 2 at the free throw line. Jenkins, who is the 6th man on this team, named a second team all Midwestern City Conference, averaged over 18 points the last 5 games of the season, and the best free throw shooter on the team. They come up, Alcorn State in possession of a 51-38 lead and the basketball.
Alcorn State's getting a little patient now. They're taking a look at this defense that Xavier's throwing at them. A little bit more aggressive by Xavier.
Outside shot, no good by Brandon. Rebound, Johnson. Jenkins feeds it back to Lee, who brings it quickly into front court. Here's Fleming. Was open from the corner, but didn't take it before Collier came out to pick him up. Johnson leaves it to Fleming.
Pass. Johnson with a little touch pass. He just kind of flipped it over there, let it roll off his fingers, and Fleming caught it. Looks like we got a timeout going to be taken in by Alcorn State.
Coach Davey Whitney doesn't like the way things are going. He's going to try to reverse that momentum. Timeout, 16-13 to play, and the score, Alcorn State 51, Xavier 40. Going out 15 on Xavier, but the Musketeers with a comeback, they've cut it to 11.
Well, they have, and they've had 6 unanswered points, and right there, that's the reason Davey Whitney called the timeout. Says, guys, we got to start scoring. They've gotten 6, and we haven't gotten any since that technical foul that was assessed to Bob Stack.
It'll be Alcorn State's ball. They'll come the length of the court against the Xavier pressure defense. Man-to-man pressure. Brandon double-teamed in backcourt and fouled. Halftime score from Philadelphia. LaSalle leading Boston University 33-28. Foul called on John Shimko, his 4th personal foul. He's replaced by Bailey.
Dexter Bailey replacing Shimko.
Archie brings the ball up court. Lee has the defensive assignment there. Brandon back to Archie. He's open from 16. Rimmed out. And a rebounding foul.
Looks like it could go against Tommy Collier.
It's called on David Palmer, I think, Larry, and it'll be his 3rd foul.
All of a sudden, Xavier has caught fire, Tom. They've gotten 6 straight points. Let's see if they can get 8 here. Playing much, much better. They seem a little bit more inspired.
Less than 16 minutes remaining in this opening round NCAA game from Dayton. Lob it into Jenkins. Triple team. Flashes back outside to Lee. Bailey's open 15. Won't go. Tapped out by Alcorn State. Phelps still on the move. Now brings it back outside and feeds to Archie.
Tough to stay on this guy one-on-one. When he gets the basketball, everybody's alert.
Eddie Archie passes to Collier, takes it back.
Little pattern offense now. They're going to try to work inside.
And they do get it inside, and a shot off the glass won't go by Palmer. And a foul on Alcorn State.
Palmer's going to get his second, it looks like.
Alcorn State foul number 24. Palmer.
It is on Palmer, who in the space of just about 30 seconds gets his second foul, his fourth of the game. He's committed all 3 fouls this half for Alcorn State. Alcorn again with an 11-point lead, but Xavier with a chance to trim 2 off. Fleming outside, no good. Rebound, Collier, Alcorn State. Outlet pass to Archie. Archie in front court. Picked up now by the defense. Trying to post Phelps underneath this time. They get it instead to Collier. Baseline jumper is good. Off balance, but he hit it.
He really was. He was sort of leaning backwards when he let go of the basketball. I don't think he even jumped. I think he just pushed the ball up.
10 points in the game for Tommy Collier. 53-40, the lead back at 13 for the Braves.
And that's what kills Xavier right there is turnovers. It's just absolutely wiped them out. That's 4 in the second half already.
LaSalle 40, Boston U 30, the latest update on that score from Philadelphia. Here's Bailey with a block, but a foul on Xavier underneath. It's either going to be Bailey or Johnson. Let's see. It's going to be on Johnson, which will be his 4th.
Xavier foul on number 55, Eddie Johnson.
Here's the move. You see Johnson committing the foul right here. Just as he made the move inside. Eddie Archie is so very, very quick when he makes that turn.
Xavier has 2 starters in deep foul trouble. Shimko on the bench with 4. Johnson has just picked up his 4th. He's going to come out of the game as Steve Wolf gets set to come in. Meanwhile, Archie hits the free throw. Archie missed his first free throw tonight, but since has reeled off 4 in a row. There's Wolf for Johnson in the Xavier lineup. Second free throw by Archie is also good. He has 13 on the night.
Watch this pressure come. They'll really come after him.
And it gets a steal almost as Williams hits it last. So it'll go back to Xavier. They almost had the steal.
They were fortunate to get away with that one because Alcorn State had a shot at the basketball and Fleming was able to save it.
15-point lead for the Braves of Alcorn State. That equals their longest. Averaging 82.6 points a game, 8th best in the U.S. Pattern offense by the Musketeers. Jenkins drives on Collier. Shot no good, but a foul. It's going to be on Collier. And that'll be his second.
Jenkins is one of the bright spots in the Xavier offense. He gets the basketball. He's very creative with it. He can do a lot of things offensively. That time he took it straight into the basket.
It'll send Jenkins to the free throw line. A native of Newark, New Jersey, a junior. Averages 10 a game. As a high school senior, he was an All-American, averaging 15 points and 12 rebounds as a senior, also All-City and All-State. He's a communications arts major who has hit 3 free throws in a row after missing his only charity attempt in the first half. He got them both. 8 points in the game for Jenkins off the Musketeer bench, and it's a 55-42 game.
Alcorn State doing a good job offensively now. They're not coming down and trying to push the ball up very quickly. They're centering with a good pattern offense and a good work to the inside. Williams
went up for his shot and drew the foul. It was whistled on Steve Wolf. That'll be the first on Wolf and number 5 this half against the Muskies. Well, they call it on Bailey, excuse me. Second on Bailey.
Bailey got it, but the pass went inside to David Williams, and the senior from Asbury Park, New Jersey, tried to turn and wheelhouse it in. He just couldn't get it there, but he did get fouled.
Look at that free throw percentage, about 46%. He shoots 50 from the field.
And if it holds true to form, he should miss this one. Is that correct?
Yes, it should. Asbury Park, New Jersey, the hometown of Williams, who misses the second one, but Brandon follows, can't get it. Fleming knocks it out of bounds. It'll go back to Alcorn State.
Every time Xavier starts to make a move and they want to close the gap on Alcorn State, something happens and Alcorn State comes up with another loose ball, a key free throw, whatever it takes, Alcorn State seems to be getting it done.
Field goal here would give the Braves their longest lead.
Watch how they play discipline on offense. You can tell a good basketball team when they do those kinds of things.
Archie got a screen but came up short on the shot. Lee with a quick outlet pass to Bailey for the stop.
Here they come back again.
And the other way. No, the basket will not count. Walking call. Nullify the basket. Walking call. As Williams went in for the jam.
And all of a sudden, Bob Stack says, hey, we got something going now. Let's keep it going. He got a basket coming the other way. Now he tries to come back. Alcorn State a little bit in a hurry. Travel with the basketball turnover. Xavier has an opportunity to cut it to 12. It is 12. It could go to 10.
Archie comes out, replaced by Davey Whitney Jr. Did a good job in the first half. Scored 4 points and directed the offense. 56-44 the lead for Alcorn. 13:02 showing on the clock. Fleming passes to Bailey. In traffic. Bailey goes up and is fouled. Dexter Bailey with a good power move. He'll go to the free throw line.
That was a nice pass from Victor Fleming. That time Dexter Bailey made a good baseline move. He gave Fleming an opportunity to get to the corner, and once he got there, Bailey was in good position to receive the pass. Now, once you get in that position, all you do is just power it up.
Reginald Black has committed his first foul for Alcorn State, and that is 5 team fouls against the Braves, which is all even with Xavier. Bailey hits the free throw, his first attempt at the free throw line. Archie back in. This time Phelps goes to the bench. Bailey shooting for his 8th point of the contest, averages 11. He's a Cincinnati native and was second team All Midwest City Conference.
A little bit of pressure now by Xavier. Looks like it's sort of a trapping zone defense. 2-2-1. Get it at half court or in the corners.
That's the lead to 10. That's the least it's been since the halftime intermission. Alcorn State scored a 3-point trip right out of the blocks to open the second half. And they led at 8 at halftime. Collier leaves it in there to Whitney, but stolen by Xavier. However, Archie is right there to pick it off as Xavier mishandled the ball on the break. He returns the favor, feeds it to Lee. Lee of Xavier in front court. Sloppy basketball both ways.
Good pass inside.
Fleming got it. Victor Fleming with his 12th point of the game has pulled Xavier back within 8 at 56-48.
Good floor vision by Lee that time. Looking up, he saw Fleming floating in behind that Alcorn State zone.
Lee almost with a steal, but he was on the sideline. Alcorn State retains possession. A lot of Xavier fans in the crowd making the short trip from Cincinnati. They're trying to rally the Muskies here. They cut the lead from 15 down to 8. Whitney drives, shot on his way, good.
Oh, what a great play that was. Whitney with a great move down the right side. He got it up and just sort of floated it over the defense.
10-point lead again for the Braves. Wolf has it in front court. Lee on a high post. This is Jenkins. Back out to Lee. Little penetration, gets it off to Bailey. Shot no good. Tapped almost in by Williams of Alcorn State. Fleming goes for the steal, but knocks it out of bounds. And Xavier asks for and gets a timeout. 11 minutes, 38 seconds to play. Timeout with a score. Alcorn State 58, Xavier 48.
And Alcorn for the right to play Georgetown.
Trying to get it back to Bailey. They scramble for it. Off the leg of Alcorn State, Davey Whitney, and it'll go to the Musketeers. Well, here's Tony Hicks back into the game after turning his ankle a little bit earlier. Fleming goes out. Larry, they need Hicks in the game. They need his offensive punch. He hasn't scored in the second half.
Well, they need his points. They've got to get him in there with that 15-point average. He's got to come on and give them some of that.
Here's Wolf. He's hit 2 in a row from there. Steve Wolf has found the range. He has 8.
He's the super sub. He comes off the bench and gives them instant offense. Alcorn State now getting a little nervous. They're only up by 8.
With 10 minutes remaining. NCAA action from Dayton, Ohio.
Good pass inside.
And a foul before the shot by Claiborne went up and in. So nullify the basket, but send Claiborne to the free throw line.
It was David Williams to David Claiborne inside. Claiborne with a good move across the angle right there. He got into the paint, was going to go for the layup. Probably a pretty good foul because he did have 2 points.
First foul on Steve Wolf. And at the free throw line, David Claiborne is only, Larry, a 44% free throw shooter. He hasn't scored tonight. This is his first appearance at the stripe. Shooting 1+1. That would look good.
It looked terrific. He let it go. It was good rotation on the ball. And got up there. And if our form holds true here, this second one should miss. Is that right?
Laban, a 54% shooter from the field, only 44 at the free throw line. Good sophomore from Yazoo City, Mississippi.
Good concentration. He looks at the basket, bounces it a couple of times, got it up in the air. That time he shot it short.
However, the rebound comes down to Collier, who bats it to Archie, and it's a potential three-point trip for the Braves, who lead 61-52. Nice steal by Hicks. Look after the block. Whitney rushes back on defense, but Hicks lays it in.
Almost a steal by Lee right there.
And a foul on Lee, and he doesn't like it.
No, it's Archie. They're going to give it to Archie.
All right, a pushing off foul against Eddie Archie.
It's an offensive foul. Lee, with a good defensive play, had the steal, and Archie pushed off to keep it from getting the ball.
That's the third foul on Archie, and that sends Lee to the free throw line. Hicks with a steal and all the way for the layup. And now Lee will try to tack 2 more on the Xavier total, and it could pull them within 5 points.
Got to give Xavier credit. They really have started to play, and it all occurred right after Stack got that technical foul.
Phelps comes into the game for Alcorn State, and Archie goes out as there's a conference at the scorer's table. That's what the holdup is all about. Don't know what it concerns. But the official has cleared the coaches out of the way while he consults with the official scorer.
Whatever it is, Lee's going to go to the free throw line and shoot.
Checking the official finally held up 3 fingers. I think they had a discrepancy on the books of the fouls on Archie. Finally decided it was his third. Lee, with a little body English, guides in his first point of the game.
Alcorn State's been outscored 20-12 since the 18-minute mark of the second half. So Xavier's starting to come on.
Rims out, put back by Bailey, won't go. Batted a couple of times, and it comes down to Alcorn State. Bailey almost tapped it in.
Well, that would have got it to 61-57. That would have been within 4.
Right now, it is a 6-point lead for the Braves of Alcorn State with 9.5 minutes remaining. Collier tries to feed inside, out of bounds. Last touch by Xavier. Jenkins had a hand on it last.
I was going to say, nobody can shoot that bad, not from the free throw line, and shoot it over the top of the board, and that's what happened right there. Alcorn State gets the ball back.
Wolf saves it, but right to Whitney, who lays it in, and he's fouled.
And it's going to be Lee with a foul. Whitney got the basketball. Nobody around from Xavier. He went up and laid it in, and Lee could do nothing but foul.
Third foul on Lee. As Davey Whitney Jr. steps to the free throw line.
One of the coaches had a hard time recruiting it.
He misses the shot, and rebound Jenkins. One of a number of college basketball sons whose fathers coach their own team. Seems like there are more this year than usual. Hicks in heavy traffic underneath, had his shot blocked by Collier. Long pass in front court to Williams. Beat it underneath. Collier fakes and draws the foul from Jenkins. Nice head fake by Collier.
It was, and it was a good pass by Michael Phelps. He got the ball inside, and that's where you want it, inside that zone defense right there. Xavier, you're going to see a good pass right here. It was Michael Phelps getting the ball inside. Nothing to do but grab him right there because Tommy Collier is going to take it up and in.
Jenkins has his first personal foul, and Collier will be at the free throw line. Fleming back in for Xavier, and Lee goes out. Again, Fleming wearing that flak jacket under his t-shirt to protect his ribs. Collier will try 2. He's pitching a shutout from the free throw line tonight, 0 for 3.
And 1 for 4. Tommy Collier. Got 248 rebounds for the year for Alcorn State. He leads them in that department.
He has 11 points tonight, shooting for 12. Got it. 65-55. Again, a 10-point lead for the Braves. Full court pressure from Xavier.
Smart play by Bailey right there. Take it back, look at it, see where he can find your open man, but he's going to run out of time.
Wolf calls a timeout. And he gets the timeout before the 10-second violation occurs. So heads-up play that time by Wolf, saving a turnover violation by Xavier. And the pressure defense of Alcorn continues to give Xavier fits.
Well, they backed off of it for a while and kind of let them bring the ball up, and now they're going to put it back on again. Again, the good discipline. You put it on, you take it off, you keep your opposing team off balance, and that's what Davey Whitney's been able to do to Xavier tonight.
8 minutes, 46 seconds remaining. A 10-point lead for that team. The Alcorn State Braves huddled around Coach Davey Whitney.
Tom, has been a pretty well played second half. It was a little erratic in the first half. Both clubs going up and down the floor, and the 19 turnovers that were assessed against Xavier caused by the Alcorn State press. They've done a better job of handling that press in the second half. They've been able to get shots off of it. When you don't get the ball across the half court and get up and get your shots, you're going to lose basketball games. In the second half, Xavier's been able to do that, and they've closed the gap, even though it's at 10 right now.
We want to see if there's any change in strategy as the Musketeers taking that timeout just to avert a turnover. And there's the turnover situation.
And as you see, they had 19 at halftime, so they've only gotten 4 in the second half. Alcorn State's the one that's picked up the turnovers.
Really have, haven't they? That's changed dramatically. Hicks brings the ball in front court and feeds back outside to Fleming. They run their half-court offense. Fleming looking inside, instead feeds outside to Hicks. It comes to Jenkins. Makes a move on Collier, picked up on the switch and double teamed. Back to Wolf. Cross-court Fleming moves for the hoop and scores.
Good ball movement that time. They moved it away from the pressure, and they got it to Fleming down the middle.
Fleming with 14 points in the game, 8 in this half. It's a 65-57 lead for the Braves. 8:15 on the clock.
Whitney's trying to post up Hicks inside.
This is Whitney with the basketball now in the corner. Feeds to Claiborne. Back outside, wide open is Phelps with a whistle before he got his shot away.
I think Tommy Collier's pitched to 10. He's thrown it in there. He's not gone anywhere for about the last 6 seconds, and that time the official got him on the 3-second call.
And it nullifies an Alcorn basket. 8 minutes to play. 65-57. Xavier with the basketball trailing. There's a walking call. Fleming shuffled his feet as he made his move.
He was heading for his 8th field goal. He's 7 of 9 so far in the basketball game. Fleming having a good offensive production.
Ralph Lee is back in for Xavier, but Alcorn State calls for a timeout. Timeout with a score. Alcorn State 65, Xavier 57. .57 lead on Xavier with just under 8 minutes remaining. 7 minutes, 56 seconds to be exact, as the Xavier cheerleaders try to rally the crowd. They trailed by 8 at halftime, went down by as many as 15. They've been struggling back, and they're in the game by 8 points here. An 8-point lead for the Braves of Alcorn State. Looking for the 22nd win of the season. Xavier already 22-7. Winner faces Georgetown and Louisville on Friday.
Good play. Fleming with good defense. He got over there and he posted David Claiborne. Wouldn't allow him to get to the basketball, and that's the way you play defense. Xavier back on offense quickly.
Jenkins with a double clutching move, no good, but a foul on Whitney of Alcorn State. That's the second foul on Whitney. It'll send Jenkins to the free throw line.
It seems that every time Xavier builds some momentum to get something going, they get it down to 4 to 6 points, and then Alcorn State takes it, turns it around, and builds it back to 8, 10, or 12. And now Xavier has a chance to get it down to 6.
But Jenkins will have to hit the free throws. First one is no good.
Jenkins at the line for Xavier.
He had hit 4 in a row before that miss. Is now 4 for 6 on the evening in the free throw department. It has 8 points in the game. That cuts the Alcorn lead to 7, 65-58.
Anthony Hicks went out with that sprained ankle in the second half here. Seems to be playing a little gingerly. He's not really good tight pressure outside out there on number 23, Michael Phelps.
Xavier defensive intensity is picked up measurably now as Whitney gives it on a bounce pass to Williams. Back to Whitney. His defensive man fell down. He fed it cross court. Phelps, his shot is good. Michael Phelps has 16 in the game. And it's 67-58.
Oh, look at that move by Jenkins. Great play. Filled the lane on the right side, went up, kind of double pumped it, kept it in his lap, and then carried it up to the rim.
Got the defense asleep, didn't he?
He really did. They weren't expecting that at all.
So again, it's a 7-point lead for Alcorn State.
Xavier keeps hanging around. Alcorn State had a chance to put him away early. And Tom, there's an old adage in coaching. When you get a chance to put a team away, you better do it while you can.
Bailey is fouling Williams. Dexter Bailey has his 3rd foul. It'll send Williams to the free throw line. Let's watch Jenkins on that pretty offensive move again.
But this time it's too late. The Alcorn State defense is not in position. You see the defensive player trying to stay in his way, but he says, I don't have a chance now. I might as well just move on, and that was David Palmer.
At the Alcorn free throw line, David Williams. The senior, one of the few upperclassmen on this team. He'll have another one. Here's Eddie Archie coming back in for the Braves of Alcorn State, and he replaces Michael Phelps.
Number 23, Michael Phelps.
Ready now for Williams to toe the line and attempt his second free throw. So Williams gives Alcorn again a 9-point advantage. 6.5 minutes on the clock. Hicks.
And again, the good pressure by Alcorn State. Look at him get it in the corner. They're taking Tom 7 to 8 seconds every time they get to the half-court line because the pressure is so strong.
Right now, Lee handles it straight away with Archie there with him. In low it goes to Bailey. His shot no good. Tapped a couple of times. Bailey with a follow, and no basket, they say. No basket. A foul is going to be called on Williams of Alcorn State.
David Williams not in position to make the play right here, and all he could do is foul. It's a great effort by Dexter Bailey. Watch the ball come off here. He goes back up in a bevy of a flurry of nothing but purple shirts right there. He got the basketball, took it back up, and got fouled.
A bevy of Braves, is that what you were saying?
I was getting ready for a bevy of Braves.
Dexter Bailey will shoot 1+1. He got it. Bailey's 3 for 3 at the line.
Xavier, number 55,
And
Johnson, replacing
Aaron
number
Brandon
23,
comes back in for Alcorn State as Williams goes out. Eddie Johnson has come back in for Xavier. Bailey missed the second one. The rebound to Alcorn State and almost thrown away. Barely saved that time by Whitney, who gets rid of it to Archie. 69-61 the score. Hicks knocked the ball away and out of bounds to Alcorn State.
Good hands by Hicks there. Aaron Brandon just trying to hold on to the basketball. Hicks much quicker than Brandon.
Inside 6 minutes. With the right to lead Georgetown in the Midwest Regional. Knocked away from behind. Hicks almost had the steal. Archie instead deals off in there to Claiborne. It's tapped in, but it won't count. We're going to have a foul, a rebounding foul on Alcorn State.
And it's David Palmer. Eddie Johnson inside that time had good position, and Palmer went right up over his back.
Palmer has fouled out. Palmer fouls out of the game with 4 points to his credit. He exits with 5 minutes, 46 seconds to play. John Shimko comes in for Xavier. I didn't see who came in for Alcorn to replace Palmer. Larry, did you?
I didn't catch it either.
Well, in the game, they have Archie along with Brandon, Claiborne, Whitney, and Collier. Free throw by Eddie Johnson is good. Only his 3rd point of the game. He'll try again on its way, and no good. Rebound comes off to Alcorn State. Whitney to Archie in front court.
Now Alcorn State's going to pull it back out and run some clock again. If they get the opening, they'll take it, and they'll take the shot.
They lead by 7. A low post, Collier wide open, hits.
Good offensive play, and they got the ball inside to Tommy Collier, youngster from Biloxi, Mississippi. Got it up and in. He's had a good basketball game. He's played well tonight.
9-point lead for the Braves. Here's Johnson in close. Missed it. Tap no good. Johnson on the follow, no good. Battles for it again. It comes to Lee. Underneath the Fleming. Goes up, no good. Offensive foul, Victor Fleming.
Xavier foul.
Fleming has his 2nd personal.
He did. He jumped right into the guy. He was standing there, and Fleming took the opportunity to try to go to the basket. Nowhere to go, and he jumped right into the Alcorn State player.
There's the press beater, Eddie Archie, quickly into front court. He's got such great quickness, such great hands. Claiborne is wide open if he wanted the shot. Fleming, nice defensive play by Victor Fleming. Got a hand on it, knocked it off the Alcorn player, so the Musketeers come the other way, trailing by 9. Eddie Johnson against Collier, shot good.
That time he got one. He missed one there the last time, plus a follow-up. And now they've cut it 71-64. It's at 7.
7-point lead. Here's a pass to Claiborne in front court. Gives it back to Archie. 4 minutes, 40 seconds to play.
Good feed inside.
Brandon hits the jump shot along the baseline. He now has 12 for the game. Good pass, good shot.
Boy, Alcorn State does a good job of getting the ball inside. They post up well. They spread themselves out, get good position, take it, and go in and up with it.
Fleming puts it up and in.
Victor Fleming.
Fleming has 16, 10 in the second half. 73-66. Again, the lead cut to 7. Clock ticks down to 4 minutes.
Watch Archie look inside. If he doesn't have it, he takes it inside. He'll go up with it.
And blocked out of bounds by Xavier, and going back to Alcorn State. Archie's funny, he just ducked his head as he went in there, and the taller players that time.
Sometimes a guy gets in like that, and you're reluctant to go after him because the official's going to look at him and say, hey, this guy's a lot smaller than anybody else in here. I think I'm going to call a foul on anybody that touches him.
Phelps back in for Xavier. For Alcorn State. Xavier has Shimko in there with Johnson, Jenkins now, Hicks, and Bailey. Bailey guarding Phelps right there. Back out to Archie, who's taken by Hicks, and to Whitney, guarded by Jenkins.
Oh, what a great move. What a baseline move. Was that ever quick by Davey Whitney?
And a charging foul on Whitney. Missed the shot and then charged Shimko, who was set up. So Whitney commits his 3rd foul.
Tom, that young freshman can really move. He is very, very quick.
Well, his dad was quite a player. His father, Davey Whitney, they call him the Whiz down in Lorman, Mississippi. And when he was a young man at Kentucky State University, earned more letters than any other in school history in baseball, basketball, football, and track. There's a shot.
Johnson got it in. Yes, Johnson got it. Good follow inside. They got the ball to him. He was on the block. And now we've got a basketball game. It's 5.
73-68. And timeout Alcorn State. So Alcorn State tries to regroup. They've seen that lead disappear down to only 5. The score, Alcorn State 73, Xavier 68. Basket, and they come away empty-handed.
Well, it was, and Jeff Jenkins, I didn't think, took a very good shot that time. As you look right there at Davey Whitney, he's talking right there to one of his players, and I thought that time Xavier could have gone back out and set up a little bit better offense. They got inside, and there really was nowhere to go for Jeff Jenkins, but he decided to take it up anyway.
Well, it was triple team, and I don't think he could find anyone to pass it to, so he finally, out of desperation, almost put a shot up. It wasn't a good shot. No good on the free throw by Brandon, however, and the rebound comes down to Xavier. Fleming gives it to Lee. 2 minutes, 27 seconds.
Good pass by Lee to Johnson.
And Johnson lost it out of bounds. Well, he was intimidated a little bit, and in trying to fake, he lost it out of bounds.
Johnson's had a difficult time tonight catching the basketball inside. He either fumbles it sometimes, or that time it went out of bounds, and really there wasn't anyone around him. I mean, there was some defensive pressure, but not enough to lose the basketball.
Brandon tries to back in against Lee, can't get anywhere, so feeds it back outside to Archie as the clock begins to work very much in favor of the Braves now with 2 minutes to play. Archie penetrates, still going, feeds it back outside to Phelps. Phelps guarded by Fleming.
Alcorn State doing a good job of keeping the ball away from double teams. There they got into one, but Archie's got the ball. Good steal by Lee.
Here comes Lee. He's got Fleming, and Archie trips him. Foul will be on Eddie Archie of Alcorn State. It'll be number 4 on the little magician.
Heads-up play that time by Ralph Lee, the 6'3" freshman from Baltimore. He also is an accomplished passer, maybe not the caliber of an Eddie Archie, but he got the basketball on a good steal that time, and now a chance to cut this lead down to 5.
Let's check Lee at the free throw line tonight. He's 1 of 2. In fact, that's his only point in the game that made free throw. On the season, Lee not a real good free throw shooter, 63% only.
1 and 1.
He'll shoot 1 in a bonus for that man's team. Bob Stack takes a seat right in front of the bench.
He's been out of his chair all night long, squatting in the front there. He's involved in this basketball game. He's got his club now within 6 and 5.
75-70 with 1:40 to play. Archie very quickly in front court. It's very, very difficult to press that man. He just outruns everybody.
They're going to have to start to do something now. It's getting down to the crucial point. They've got a minute and a half.
Phelps has it with Hicks on defense. Feeds it back to Archie. Lee has him, and Lee has 4 fouls as well. Archie flips it over to Phelps. Inside it goes. Shot by Williams won't go. Rebound, battled for, and Collier touches it last. It'll go to Xavier. Collier and Fleming battling, and it goes Xavier's way.
I don't think Coach Whitney wanted that shot. I think he wanted to continue to run the clock, and they went inside with it and took it anyway. Now Xavier needs a basket right here.
They can cut it to 3. Jenkins, outside shot.
Got it.
Kicked out of bounds. It'll belong again to Alcorn State. 75-72 the score. 56 seconds left.
Xavier can hope for a turnover here or a steal. They could get right into this game. They're in it now. There's 56 seconds left to play. Good pressure. He's having a hard time.
And he got the timeout in time. Phelps was having trouble finding someone to throw it to against the Xavier pressure. The count was proceeding, but he was able to call timeout and save the turnover.
And all of a sudden, it was a reversal of roles right there, Tom. You saw Xavier come out with the good pressure, and that time Alcorn State not able to handle it, and probably a heads-up call to take the timeout because nobody was open.
Only 56 seconds left. If Xavier can't get the steal on the inbounds pass or the first couple of passes, are they going to try to foul now?
You got to foul immediately. If they can't get the steal immediately on the throw-in, go for somebody. And it's obvious that Alcorn State does not shoot free throws very well. They're a 62% free throw shooting team. There's going to be a couple of guys in there they can go after. You got to play the percentages right now.
Xavier cheerleaders, they've seen their team come from 15 points back to pull within 3, but only 56 seconds remain.
On the other side, you got to figure that Davey Whitney's going to try to get the ball into Eddie Archie's hands. He's the guy I would like to have a hold of it. He's a 70% free throw shooter, or Aaron Brandon, who's at 77%. Those two guys are the best shooters they have. But I want Archie handling the basketball because he's the guy that will take care of it.
Braves break huddle from around Coach Davey Whitney. Winners of the Southwestern Athletic Conference Tournament to get to these NCAA playoffs. Xavier beat Loyola for the championship of the Midwestern City Conference. It's the second NCAA trip for each team. Xavier's first since 1961, but they have their best record in 26 years. That man is known for having great records down in Lorman, Mississippi with Alcorn State. Braves basketball, they've got to come the length of the court. Archie whips it right back to Phelps. Hicks has Archie with the defense. Hicks had Phelps,
Good handle of the double team right there. They knew it was coming, and they had it set up.
45 seconds to play. Hicks almost had a steal from Phelps. Back out to Archie. Lee has him. He reaches in from behind and commits the personal foul. That'll be his 5th.
Well, they're going to put the game on the line now. That's where it's going to end up. Archie's got to step up there and make these free throws.
Ralph Lee fouls out with 3 points to his credit. He leaves the game with 39 seconds remaining. And Eddie Archie at the free throw line. Dexter Bailey comes in to replace Lee. Archie has hit 5 free throws in a row after missing his first. He has 15 points. Well, it rimmed around, but it fell through. A big free throw.
That one rattled. I want to tell you what, they got everything on the inside of that orange cylinder up there.
4-point lead for the Braves. A big free throw here for Archie. Sophomore from Jackson, Mississippi. On its way, it's no good. Rebound Johnson. Knocked out of the hand of Bailey, and it'll go to Alcorn State. They said it hit Bailey on the leg.
And it was
a big play.
It was a heads-up play by Michael Phelps to get Bailey to lose the basketball. He put good pressure on him, slapped it off his leg. Alcorn State now just needs to run the clock.
4-point lead and a foul. It'll be called on Eddie Johnson. It'll be intentional, a 2-shot foul.
And Tommy Collier, who shoots 65%, goes to the line, and he has a chance now to widen the lead or make it even tighter.
36 seconds remain. Steve Wolf is going to come back in for Xavier as Eddie Johnson is fouled out. So in the space of a couple of seconds, Xavier has lost 2 players. Eddie Johnson fouls out with 7 points. 2 free throws on the intentional foul. 14 for Collier. No good. He'll have another.
Well, these free throws are so crucial. You've got to walk up to that line and make the free throws at the end of the basketball game. You've got to make them anytime.
He's only 2 for 6, now 3 for 7, as he gives Alcorn a 5-point lead.
Look at Alcorn State. Pressure on the basketball.
And an offensive foul. Hicks of Xavier. Offensive foul. Hicks forcing his way toward front court is whistled for his third personal. And now turn it over to Alcorn
You
State.
talk about great strategy. They kept the pressure right on him. They did not back off and allow him to go up the floor and shoot the basketball. They came right at him with pressure again. Good coaching decision that time by Davey Whitney.
You would have expected, as Fleming fouls on the inbounds pass, you would have expected Alcorn to fall back and play it safe, not allow Xavier to shoot free throws and catch up with time stop. So they do just the opposite, and it pays off.
I think that even is even more indicative of the type of discipline that this team has. Alcorn State can come out and press. Don't commit the foul. Just play your good, tough defense. Now Davey Whitney over on the bench is saying, do not foul. Let's just play straight up.
Aaron Brandon at the free throw line for Alcorn. Hit it. He'll have another. 31 seconds, as you see, and Alcorn leading it by 6. Well, it's been a very, very spirited comeback by Xavier. And right now, it's Alcorn in the driver's seat. Got them both. Debris coming out on the floor from the Xavier section, but despite the earlier warning, no technical call. Here's Fleming in front court. Hicks. Hicks feeds it to Bailey underneath. No good, but a foul on Collier.
No, that's not a good move there. Collier should let that man go on in and score. If he's at that point right there, you don't want to commit a foul to stop the clock. You want the clock to continue to run. And I think Davey Whitney's up. That's what he's telling his player right now. Do not foul. There he is. Looks like he's had a tough night.
Well, pretty soon, if his team can hold on, he's got to think about playing Patrick Ewing in Georgetown.
That's no easy task.
Dexter Bailey at the free throw line. Missed it. He'll have another. Bailey ready again on his second shot. Only 24 seconds remaining. It's good. Alcorn State with the ball inbounds. And a foul on Fleming. Fleming committing his fourth. Will again walk to the Alcorn State free throw line.
Major foul on number 10, Victor Fleming.
Tom, I think it's pretty much academic right now. I think we had a later score that LaSalle was still leading Boston University by about 5. I think it was 55-49. So LaSalle seems to be moving forward there over than Palestra and Philadelphia. Of course, we did have a final earlier where Princeton beat North Carolina A&T 53-41. Earlier here tonight, we had Robert Morris, a 10-point winner, 64-54 over Georgia Southern.
Michael Phelps hits the free throw. He'll have another one.
Well, we said if these two teams reach their average tonight, we'd have a good basketball game, and they're just about right on it.
They are indeed. In fact, this free throw would leave Alcorn only 1 point shy. And it's good. 81-73. Debris on the court again coming from the Xavier fans. They ought to call a technical foul on it. One almost hit the free throw shooter a couple of minutes ago. Hicks with a shot on its way. Good. Tony Hicks hits the basket. 14 points in the game for Hicks, and it's quick timeout taken by Xavier. One of the Xavier assistant coaches runs on the floor, picks up something that was thrown by a Xavier fan, and hurls it right back at him. Well, you can't blame the Xavier coaching staff and the players, but some of the fans need a little education.
No reason to have that right now. It looks like Alcorn State's going to put the basketball game away. Xavier's put on a valiant effort, but they just had too many turnovers tonight, caused mainly by the Alcorn State press. They came out, put good pressure on the positions where they needed to, got 19 turnovers in the first half, got the jump on Xavier. A good comeback by Xavier after the technical foul, but not enough to catch the Alcorn State Braves. They're going to walk away from here and go to Patrick Ewing and the Georgetown Hoyas.
Alcorn State will win for the 22nd time this season against 9 losses, and Xavier will close out the year with a record of 22-8. A fine year for Coach Bob Stack and his Musketeers, and one of the great dramatic turnarounds in Division I basketball. They were 8-20 last year, 22-7 this year. Lost 20 last year, came back to win over 20 in the 82-83 season.
Philadelphia, LaSalle leads Boston University 66-54.
LaSalle leading Boston University 66-54 in Philadelphia. About 2 minutes to play there. Alcorn State's ball, only 10 seconds left. Clock starts when it's touched inbounds. Comes in front court to Whitney, just 6 seconds, now 5. Whitney dribbling around, almost lost it. 1 second, that'll be it. Alcorn State has won the game, 81-75. The Braves will advance to play Georgetown in the Midwest Regional in Louisville on Friday as Coach Davey Whitney exits the arena, seeing his Braves win for the 22nd time this season. I'd like to take the opportunity to thank all the people that
81-75, the final score. Back on the NCAA tonight, Bob Lee, Dick Vitale, so Davey Whitney. Well, he wins this one, but he's got the Hoyas and Patrick Ewing next up.
Well, he should enjoy tonight because tonight was a special night because once Patrick Ewing gets a hold of him, he's the most dominant defensive player I've ever seen in the middle. However, let's congratulate them, Bob. They did a great job with their team defense. It was unbelievable how they played on the open court. Archie with the basketball was absolutely brilliant. Their shot selection really surprised me. They had some discipline. And Bobby Stack's kids never quit at Xavier, and I liked Anthony Hicks.
Okay, we are going to give you the final score from the Palestras, so if you are interested in that game coming along in about 3.5 hours, just make a quick trek out of the room for a second. But we'd like to tell you that this game has been brought to you by IBM and also by Timex, timekeeper to ESPN. Timex, we make technology beautiful. And also by Louisville Slugger Bats and Gloves. Louisville Slugger, the hardest hitting name in sports. The final this evening from the Palestra has LaSalle running away and staying at arm's distance from Boston University, winning that game 70-58. Don't forget, Sports Center follows next with Sal Marciano and David Sullivan. Then after Sports Center at the top of the hour, midnight Eastern Time, Princeton takes on North Carolina A&T, and at 3 a.m. Eastern Time, that LaSalle-Boston University game, the game you just seen, Alcorn State and Xavier. Xavier and the Braves. The Braves win it to go 22-9. They win it and move on to take on Georgetown in Louisville on Friday.